Like when it comes to manifesting the reality that you want, your reality is going to be the most difficult thing to overcome because reality is always in your face. It's always showing you exactly what is. And you have to be just a little bit crazy. Like you have to kind of believe that even though life looks like this right now, it won't always look this way. Your reality is being created by the stories you tell yourself, okay? And those stories can sound like a lot of things. It can sound like the economy that I live in is terrible. Like there's a recession going on, there's not enough jobs, I can never win, I can never figure out exactly what to do next, like I feel confused. Like these are not only limiting beliefs, but these are the stories that we tell ourselves. And the stories that you tell yourself around everything is what's determining how you evolve. It's going to determine this person that you are now and the person that you become. Hello and welcome back. My name is Judita. Today we are going to talk about the stories that we tell ourselves that keep us stuck, right? Once upon a time, I had the story that in order for me to be successful, I had to live my life a certain way. My life had to go down this certain path, right? That was a story that I had. And I've got that story just from living life, just from what society told me was true about success, just from what my family kind of expected of me. So the story I had was that there was this one path to success, and this was how I was going to get there. And my story, that story was keeping me stuck. The story that I had to go to college and I had to pick a major that was on that list. And that's not to say that I regret going to college because I did my most growing there. I would not take back my college experience for nothing in this world. Okay, it was fun. But it was a limiting belief or a story that led me to that path, right? And it wasn't until after I graduated that I realized that, this story that I've been telling myself, it just doesn't fit with the life that I actually want to create. It just doesn't fit with who I feel that I really am, right? And that's the same thing with you and the stories that you've been telling yourself. Like you have to dig deep and think about like, what is it about my life that I don't feel unfulfilled? What area have I been telling myself like things just have to be this way? That's just life, because that is a story that you're telling yourself. Okay, one story that I know that I encounter a lot when I talk to women is the story of the economy where I live is bad, or there's not a lot of opportunities here, or there's not enough jobs here, or I've been applying and it's not working. And I specifically remember speaking with one girl and love her personality. And I remember we had this conversation and she was telling me how she's been applying for jobs and it's just been very, very hard. She hasn't been able to find anything. Like it's just hard to come by. It was a difficult experience. Like just nothing about it was enjoyable for her. And I can definitely understand that. Like if you trying and nothing is, coming back to you, I can definitely understand how that reality will elicit that response, right? Because it's like, what do I have to be happy about? Nothing is coming through the way I want it to. Nothing is working out the way I want it to. So I get it. But in that conversation, I remember telling her, listen, if you want to attract a job, first of all, you have to get rid of all the stories that you've been telling yourself. Like you cannot tell yourself that it's going to be hard. You can't tell yourself it's going to be hard to find a job doing this thing. You cannot tell yourself it's difficult in the economy. It's difficult in the job world. Like whatever story it is that you have, you cannot repeat that to yourself. And yes, regardless of how true it might feel, regardless of how true it might actually be, that story doesn't serve you, okay? It does not serve the goal that you want to accomplish. And because of that, when you are telling yourself that story, your actions, even if it's not on purpose, your actions are aligning with that. You are aligning with opportunities where for sure you will not get them because your expectation is that nothing is working out for me. Like none of these opportunities are coming through for me. And we just had this conversation where I kind of told her like you have to shift these beliefs, these stories around your job search and how it's going. Recently, I contacted her again just to check up on her, just to see how she was doing. And she literally was like, everything that I told her to do completely worked. Like she had the job. Not only that, but we just spoke and she got another job that's even better than the one she had attracted initially, right? So now the opportunities are coming, right? Because she changed her mindset. She stopped looking at what wasn't working and start looking at what was, right? She literally raised her frequency. Like we are all energetic beings and the energy that you put out is what you get back. And when she shifted her frequency from the lack and from the struggle to the opportunity, the possibility to expecting things to work out for her, then it did. Okay, that is how powerful we are as creators. Like, we forget, like, the energy that created us, God, like, we came from that. But not only that, it's not apart from us, it's a part of you. You know what I mean? It's not something that you have to reach for, it's something that's already within you. But in order to access that energy, in order to access that power, of course, you have to tell yourself the story that aligns with that, right? And the story that I've been telling myself for years is that everything always works out for me. I am a co-creator of my life. Like, you're either co-creating your life, or you're just letting life happen and you're reacting to it. And I lived my life like that for a long time, until I was like, you know what? The life that I've been stumbling into is not even the life that I want to create. Like, it's like going up a ladder, and then when you get to the top you realize that it was leaning up against the wrong building, right? And we don't want that. So that's why you have to tap into what it is that I really, really want, because when you do, you can start to create stories that actually serve the reality that you want to create, right? So like I was saying, some other stories that I've created for myself is that there's nothing that I cannot be, do, or have. Like, there's nothing that I cannot learn. Any dream, any desire that was put into my heart is there for a reason, right? The dream comes with the ability, but it's up to me to harness it. It's up to me to not become a victim of the challenges that are literally meant to make me into this person who can have and maintain the life and the things and everything that I say I want. Like, every challenge that comes my way, I have to see it in a way that serves me. I have to tell myself a story about it that serves me, right? And the story that I choose to tell myself is that this some way somehow is working out for me. This some way somehow is for my greater good. It's for me to become the person who can have and maintain my goals. Like, these are the stories I tell myself, right? And you can call me crazy, but like, they've literally gotten me this far. Like, I could not have imagined, like, 5 years ago, owning my own business, being a coach, literally helping women. I would write in my journal all the time, like, I want to use my voice to encourage people. I want to use my voice to help people change the way they think about themselves and the world around them. Because when I recognized how powerful my own perspective was, like, my own beliefs were, my own mindset was, I was like, oh, this is something that I have to tell to everybody. Like, everybody needs to know this. Like, there's no need to struggle. There is no need to stress. Like, reality will be reality. But at the end of the day, what you have control over is you. And when you change, when your beliefs change, when the stories that you tell yourself about your life change, when those things change, everything else will change for you. All the changes that you have been trying so hard to make, they will flow effortlessly, right? All you have to do is change, right? Change the stories that you've been telling yourself. Another story that is very, very common is that, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, good things don't happen to people like me. That person was lucky, that's why it happened for them and it's not happening for me. Or it could be the comparison story, where you're comparing where somebody else is compared to where you are, right? So these are all stories that are very common and that we tend to tell ourselves. And the thing about your stories is, the longer you've been telling them to yourself, is the easier they are to believe, because your brain is gonna get used to it. Like, I like to compare our brains to a computer, and you are programming it, okay? Your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your perspective, all of that is programming your mind to operate in a certain way and to look for certain things, right? You have to start to be mindful and program your brain so that it is in alignment with the life that you want to create. But like I said, if you've been telling yourself the same story over and over and over, your brain has been programmed to accept that as truth. Like, your brain is like, but this is true for me. Like, this is what I've been repeating to myself year after year, and I have evidence to show this. I have evidence to show that I don't have enough money. I have evidence to show that I don't have enough time. I have evidence to show that I don't have the support, or that good things just don't happen to me like they happen to everybody else. Like, my life is evidence of it. But that is just not true, okay? The reality is, there's this thing in your brain called the reticular activating system, okay? It is like the TSA of your brain, and it is only going to let through the things that you tell it to let through. The things that you have been letting pass through you for years, that is what your brain is going to accept as truth, because the TSA of your brain has been given permission to let this thing through, right? So when it comes to limiting beliefs such as, I'm not good enough, they're better than me, anything like that, if you've been repeating thoughts like that to yourself for years, then the TSA in your brain is like, that's clear, like, we can let more of that through. And not only that, but it's going to start to look for evidence that proves you right. That is how your brain works. Whatever you feed it, it is going to look for evidence to try to prove you right, especially if proving you right will will keep you stuck in your comfort zone, okay? Your brain loves being in your comfort zone. It loves when you do things that you've always done. It loves when you stay right where you are, not out of your comfort zone, not taking any risks, not learning anything new. And it's not necessarily that like your brain wants the worst for you, because I know that's how it gets down, but what it actually is that once you are accustomed to a certain habits, right? A certain things that you tell yourself over and over, like once you become accustomed to them, your brain is literally wired in a way that it gets used to that. Like your neurons are literally wired together. It's creating this personality that you call you. So when you want to do something new, when you say, I want to start a business, I've never been a business owner before, but I want to start a business, your brain is like, we don't have the wiring in place for this. Like, this is not who we are. We're an employee. We show up to work. We work 40 hours a week. I don't know what this business stuff is about, but no, right? So your brain is going to start coming up with reasons of why you can't, of why you shouldn't, of why you don't have the time, the money, the support. Like your brain will provide you with that because it's just giving you evidence of who you believe that you are, right? In that moment, before you start the business, before you start to cultivate the mindset of an entrepreneur, your brain is just showing you who you are. And then it's hard to fight against it, right? But this is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Okay, because those who succeed are willing to push against the part of their brain that's telling them this is impossible, right? They're willing to take the time to consistently remind themselves of, hey, I'm creating this life that I've never created before, and my brain is going to be against it. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't do it. That doesn't mean that the timing isn't right. It doesn't mean any of those stories that I might tell myself to keep me stuck. Okay, if you slowly but surely start to tell your brain, no, I can actually figure these things out, then your brain will literally start to rewire itself to start to think like, you know what, I can figure this out. Maybe I can do this. You know what? I've never done this before, but I can definitely learn how to do it now. That is how your brain is working against you and with you. Because once you program your brain to be resilient, that is locked in, okay? That ain't going nowhere. Once you program it to have courage, to be confident, it ain't going nowhere. And if it does, all you have to do is remind yourself again. It's like a computer. It can be reprogrammed again and again and again. Some of us have these subconscious beliefs that are so deep and so like negative that it is going to be a little bit harder for you to reprogram your brain. At that point, maybe you might need some help. Maybe you might need therapy. Maybe you might need like a coach that can specialize in whatever it is that you need help to overcome. But either way, your brain can always be reprogrammed. And in this day and age, there's so many tools, there's so many modalities, so many teachers that can help you do that if you're having a hard time reprogramming your mind. Let's get into the 3 steps that you can take to literally start to shift these stories so that you can create new stories, new beliefs that serve the life and the person that you want to have and become. So the first thing is identify your stories. Okay, identify what is keeping you stuck. Identify what feels real to you, or write it down. Once you have it written down, the second thing that you're going to do is try to figure out exactly where it stemmed from. And this is something where you have to kind of just observe yourself. You have to give yourself some time and just observe when the feeling comes up or when the story comes up, right? And it could be triggered by a feeling, it could be triggered by a certain experience, but be aware, like, is it that I'm scrolling on social media and I see people living this kind of life and then it triggers this story for me that they're luckier than me, or I can never live that life. Like, figure out where the trigger is stemming from, right? Because you need to know so that the next time you are triggered, you're already ahead of it. You already know that when I scroll and when I look at certain things, these things trigger me. So maybe I need to look at them less. Maybe I need to pull back from that less. Or maybe I need to practice looking at the trigger and not being triggered. Whichever stage you feel like you're at with it, go with that. The third thing that you want to do, and probably the most important of these 3 steps, is to create a new story. And this is how you create a new story. Let's use the example of, let's say you're looking for a job and it's been hard. You have not been having any type of luck. Whatever stories you have around your job search, pick apart the ones that aren't serving you, regardless of how real they feel or how real they've been proven to be. Write them down, okay? Once you have them written down, then you want to create a statement or a story that's gonna basically cancel that belief out. So let's say, very simply, your belief is it's hard to find a job. That's a story you have around your job search. Now you want to change it to, I can find a job. Like there is an opportunity out there for me. I just haven't found it yet. Or the reason why none of these opportunities have worked out for me yet is because because there is something much better in store for me. Like God knows my heart. He knows exactly what I want, and he is preparing me. He is seeing how resilient I can be and how much faith I can have that the job I want will come. That was very long, but whatever statement helps you, whatever statement is easiest to believe, that's what you want to grab onto. Don't try to go from finding a job is so hard to I found a job already, I feel good, it's amazing. Like, don't try to embody a belief that you literally cannot believe or that you have no emotional response to. Try your best to come up with a new story that you actually can believe. Like even if you can just believe in the possibility that I'm not being punished. It's not that I'm unlucky. The right job just hasn't come yet. It's like, can you believe that? And if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in the higher power, the God that created you, it should be super easy for you to have faith in certain things. Like you should have faith that things are always working out for you. You should have faith that you are not in this alone. You should have faith that some way or another, in the end, things will 100% go in the way that they're supposed to. That is it for today's video. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, let me know in the comments if any of this resonated with you. And also, before I go, I have one announcement. My one-on-one program, Dreams to Reality, is currently open. It's a mentorship program, and I work one-on-one with women to literally overcome every limiting belief, every doubt, anything that is going on in your mind that is preventing you from creating the life you want, or just preventing you from having the mindset that would take you to the next level. So if you're interested in joining, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one to do this, all you have to do is click the link that I'm going to leave in the description box, fill out the application form, and if you qualify, I will be in touch with you, okay? That is it for today. I hope you bloomed because I know I did, and I will see you guys on the next one.